But thank you so much for making it here and joining us in this special moment. We'll open the floor now for quick media Q&A. Just a caveat, we'll take questions only limited to the scope of this discussion, which is on the ETPL, European Cricket, the Rotterdam Dockers, and what we have in store for the inaugural edition. So kindly raise your hand. We'll get the cordless mic passed on to you. Introduce yourself, your name and your publication, and your question. All right, I think just get warmed up. Let me just start off the questions with one. John, this is for you. You've seen sport globally. What really particularly interested you to really invest in European cricket and with the Rotterdam Dockers? And what does success really mean to you more than just winning the championship?
For us, I invested in football. And for me, football in this country is like a startup. Football's not going to see a better time than it is now in India, starting with this year, where the teams co-own the entire league. So I'm very bullish on it. And I just applied that to I applied that experience to what's happening with European cricket, and I think the story is the same there. It's at a very nascent stage. It's the right time to get in. I think more than success, I feel it's grassroots. I feel it's building your academies there, building a self-sustainable business stroke revenue model there. So you can get more players out of there and then supply them, also create a supply chain to different leagues. When you have the right partners on board, when you have the right platform in the ETPL on board, it's great breeding ground to do something like this.
Wonderful. Yeah, Amol.
Hi John, Amol from The Hindu. You just mentioned about creating a supply chain and comparing your involvement in football and ETPL. Yes, there are a lot of parallels, but when it comes to cricket, primarily everyone wants to catch eyeballs, especially from the subcontinent. How do you strike that balance of creating a supply chain, developing a structure through ETPL, and yet manage to attract eyeballs?
So I think I think your question has there are two questions in this basically. Getting the eyeballs is a very media stroke TRP stroke business perspective. We're doing that through the timings when we play this game, especially for the Indian subcontinent, 4:30 and 7:30. So it's prime time for India, especially the 7:30 game. The first part of your question, not the latter, the former part of your question is how do you create a supply chain is through stalwarts, through like Jonty, Faf, etc., who in conjunction with me, and I'm saying this out of experience because I'm doing that in football, we're creating India's biggest football academy in the northeast of India, in Shillong, called the Center of Excellence. If you don't have a sustainable business model and a supply chain where you provide players to all of the clubs, you won't survive. And I think that's exactly what we want to do with this. We want to get those players out from the domestic league, Dutch players, Irish players, Scottish players, from wherever, and then supply them to the biggest leagues in the world, not only our team, but to the biggest leagues in the world. And I think that should be and that will be our way forward.
Can I just add to that too? I mean, I think specifically for us, the beauty of what we've tried to establish is that we've got a very strong South African connection, obviously a European connection, and a very tight Indian connection. So the tournament itself is 5 weeks, 4.5, 5 weeks. And we understand that you can't just survive in that 5-week window of an entire year. So our plan is with regards to that pipeline or the supply chain is ensuring that we can take young players out of Europe, get them into India for camps, high performance camps, bring them through to South Africa for high performance camps. Faf and myself, I mean, I live half the year in India, half the year in South Africa. So ensuring that we're giving these young players not just that 5-week window with some of the best players, some of the best coaches in the world, but then other opportunities to extend their cricket knowledge by playing in countries more consistently. And they have long off seasons, obviously, in Europe. So in that off-season period, bring them to South Africa, bring them into India, where we can grow them, not only their cricket skills, but also mentally make them tougher players too. Because, let's face it, academy cricket, league cricket in South Africa, league cricket and a club cricket in India. It's a very tough competition itself.
Is there a story behind picking number 7 as your number?
No specific story. I'm okay with it.
We're just doing it in order. 7, 8. What's your? Oh, 6. Okay.
6, 7, 8.
So wrong way
6,
around.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So we just no specific story per se.
Yeah, there's a question there. Please go ahead, sir.
Whether the Rotterdam Talkers will be participating for the first time in the Premier League 20? Madhukar.
So, sorry, the question is that Rotterdam Dockers are participating for the first time in the league.
Speak about the team.
So, I mean, right from February when, myself and Jonty got together, the whole idea was to, put together a team, not only on ground, but off the field as well, something which is world class. We want to go there with an A product. And then we, when we started discussing, obviously for a team, what you need is a good leader. And that's when we had a chat. And I mean, Fab du Plessis, who's been an exceptional leader across franchisee crickets and for the South African team. So that's how we kind of then we both had a chat with Faf and he was very interested to come on board, and that's how he got involved. And after that, obviously with the modern cricket, we needed someone who can provide entertainment, who is a big name and can help us win the trophy. And that's when kind of Faf spoke to Enric Claassen and got him on board. So I mean, in terms of that's how we started our story. And then obviously, as Jonty rightly mentioned, there's a lot of cultural similarities between Netherlands, the Dutch, and the South African country. And in terms of the language, Afrikaans is widely spoken in both the countries. So that's how we kind of started it. And though I mean we have got an African influence team, as Jonty rightly mentioned, we cater to multiple markets, right from India, Africa, Europe, and now US also. So that's how it is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is a question for both John and Jonty. I'm Vishal from Cricinfo. We've seen cricket exist and really thrive for so many decades, both in India, South Africa, everywhere, except perhaps in these parts of Europe where the ETPL is now coming up. So what kind of a future do you see? And also we see T20 leagues coming up almost every year now, taking up some part of the calendar, which is only 12 months. So what kind of a vision do you see for this league? What kind of a market do you see it establishing, whether in Europe or India or across the world?
I think from a perspective of me being involved in India for the last 18 years in franchise cricket, what has been fascinating is that it didn't just mushroom altogether. Kind of the different states were suddenly then picking up their own T20 leagues. And I think that's what we're also looking to see in Europe. I mean, there's 31 or 2 associates of the ICC, 33 associates. And it's not just about these 3 countries, because once it starts there, there is real cricket affection in Europe itself, which we as people who are familiar with England, India, South Africa, Australia, the bigger country names, you don't appreciate. But I lived in Sweden for 2.5 years to coach the Swedish national team. And for us, we were looking across at Italy, we were looking across at Germany, because from a Scandinavian perspective, they were the next level up. And then there was Ireland and Scotland. So there's a huge opportunity to grow cricket, not just in Ireland, Netherlands, and Scotland. And having seen it and seen what a platform like this sort of league can do, I am really excited by how we are going to influence the rest of Europe. So yes, our focus is on Rotterdam, the Netherlands, on Ireland and on Scotland. But we know that that knock-on effect quickly impacts the rest of the countries in Europe.
John, I think he's waiting for your comments.
No, I think Jonty's, he gets this far better than I do. But I think the way you see T20 leagues springing up in the country, you have the Assam Premier League, you have so many Premier Leagues all across the country being broadcast on different OTT channels. I think you'll have that ripple effect happening in Europe too, like he said. So I think it's a great time for us, it's the opportune time for us, and we must take advantage of it.
I think just a key thing though is that, I mean, there have been various tournaments in Europe already that preceded this now the ETPL. But the key is, though, ours is an ICC sanctioned event. And that's important because, you can have leagues and events popping up everywhere, but do they have, the backing of cricket boards like we have, of the International Cricket Council? We have that backing, and I think that's the big difference, is that we know that we are in this for the long ride and for the right reason. Sure, it's a business, but to grow the game. And all of the team owners, it's been interesting because there's so many former players that are now co-owners in the various franchises. And we all played in a similar era against each other. And the team owners have actually been working really well together to ensure that we support this league, because we believe in the business side of it, but we also believe in the difference that we can make, not just in the 3 countries, but throughout Europe as a whole.
Before you take the next question, just one question to Krish. Jonty and John have spoken a lot about the philosophy and the vision and the mindset of Dockers. From a commercial AI standpoint, you've spoken about it already, how does Fireflies.ai buy into this philosophy to really strengthen Rotterdam Dockers, strengthen grassroots, and then strengthen the commercial proposition of the brand?
I think right off the bat, in terms of how you can elevate the experience for the players, and you can bring insights to them, and you can help them prepare better for these sort of games. The other thing is you can use technology for fan engagement, especially they're doing so much work at the grassroots level, bringing in talent, training talent, the locals. And honestly, if you can have an incredible experience on site at the stadiums and have great fan engagement using technology, that's also a great way to create that loyalty and stickiness for the team. And the best part is this is just going to get bigger. It's only going to, this is just a starting point. So if you have your the best foot forward, you can make a huge impact there. And I think technology, as we've seen when we see broadcasts, when we watch the games, how it can bring interesting insights and graphics and stats and metrics, you can bring all of that as well. But for me personally, I had come in thinking Europe is big for us as Fireflies investing. And this is going to get obviously a lot of eyeballs, but more importantly, it's unique, it's novel, and this is what we really stand for as well at our company.
Perfect. Any more questions?
John and Krish, how do you see the role of AI in cricket and in entertainment?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? AI in...
The role of AI in cricket. And John, how do you see the increasing role of AI in entertainment?
Yeah. So with cricket, I've had a chance to sit with a team analyst, and I've had a chance to look at some of the technology and tools that they use. The amount of research and work that players have to do and coaches have to do, they really have to do their homework. And in fact, sometimes, whether you look at other leagues or even international matches, if you don't do the prep beforehand, the match can be lost. When I was talking to Faf, one of the things he said, he's a very data-oriented captain. Like, there are certain captains who just go by instinct and they operate like computers, but having a data-oriented captain, understanding what sort of decisions you can make on the spot. One of the advantages of AI is you can make these sort of real-time decisions, whereas instead of post-match analysis, you can know, okay, at what point in the game did we lose the match? Who should I have put up against this batsman where we would have had a better edge? What sort of lineup should I have picked? So that's how I think like AI can help bring out these insights, and you're going to have already people that are going to be well-researched, well-prepared, but at the end of the day, you can have all the AI in the world, but it's up to the players to be able to execute on the spot, so it's just going to elevate the game and the level of playing to another level.
Well, I met him on set the other day when he was shooting, so he doesn't use AI at all. It's all John Abraham. I was walking through this field, and I felt like I was going to disappear down a crack. It was such a hot and dry day and place that I said, oh, how do you perform any stunts doing, you could lose half a leg. So it was not AI, right? It's all John Abraham. No AI involved at all.
Thank you. Jonty's got my back. Thank you. No, I think what Krish said is absolutely correct. I think this AI is here to stay. But I think for us, even because I'm more associated, have been associated with football for about 13 years now. We depend on our team is a Moneyball team. You know, we depend on stats, and we just go by stats, and we go by numbers, and we see, for example, how many goals this guy has scored, etc. And I think the same applies for cricket. So AI is going to be very useful for us in terms of statistics, who we really need to get on the field. It could be a part of any sport, but it's here to stay. As far as films is concerned, we have a lot of assistance from AI, but thank you, Jonty. Thank you. But we try and do as much as possible outside of it, but it's definitely here to stay. And I have to tell you something, and I'm digressing. I was shooting on the set, and my action team was South African, and they were harnessing me, and we have Mr. Jonty Rhodes in his glasses just roaming around and walking around, and the South African guy just stops and he says, "Is that Jonty Rhodes?" I said, "Yeah, that's Jonty Rhodes." He's saying, "That's Jonty Rhodes." And he asked me, I think 5 times if it was Jonty Rhodes. I said, "Yes, it's Jonty Rhodes. It's not AI. It's Jonty Rhodes there." So the guy he said Jonty Rhodes has shaped my life. And that's the reverence that people like Jonty have in this ecosystem. So I just wanted to mention it, that I got some brownie points on my own film thanks to Jonty Rhodes coming on the film. So it is great.
Jonty, there are so many leagues coming up in the world, and especially in the European sector. But what is being done to have Indian participation? Because Indians make it more popular, and not just Indians by birth, but some who have attained some level of, who have attained some stature in international cricket, not just any Indian player. What is being done to that, to have them play?
Sure, there's obviously from an ICC perspective and an ETPL perspective, the BCCI runs Indian cricket, and they dictate those terms, and we know what those terms are. It's not just they can't play in Europe. Anybody that's playing cricket in India, even at state level, cannot play in any other countries. So it's great to see Ajinkya Rahane is now signed up as well into this ETPL. R. Ashwin, and under Rahul Dravid's guidance and ownership of one of the teams, hopefully we'll start seeing senior players when they retire from the game. And we know in India, I mean, it's pretty incredible, because cricket's not just about the skills that you have on the day. It's also about the skills that you can rub off onto other people. And that, again, is important for us. So while some people might say, well, you're only going to catch Indian players who've retired, that sort of expertise, and it's so valuable into the European T20 Premier League setup that, it's great to see guys now who are retiring in India and playing in the league. But that's been something that the BCCI have not ever changed or even given an indication that it could change. They've been very firm on that principle that when you play cricket in India, you're not available for any other league. So they've been consistent throughout. But as I said, we're excited to have anybody that's played franchise cricket here, especially for so the length of time and the experience that they're bringing into the ETPL. It's really exciting for all of us.
We'll take the final 2 questions. I have one cheeky question. John, this is a very interesting question. Your team, Rotterdam Dockers, has Faf du Plessis, Henrik Klaassen, a lot of cricketing brain. Is that sometimes intimidating?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fanboy moment, So it's fun to have them, and I was just telling Krish, without sounding pompous about it, I think we have got one of the stronger teams in the league, and proudly so, and rightly so. So very excited, and I hope Jonty is correct in saying I hope we lift the cup. So without sounding presumptuous about it.
Fair.
And just to answer your question, sir, I also believe that we will identify Indian players that are not playing in any of the state leagues, etc. That would be discoveries, and India would discover them there in the Rotterdam Dockers, for example, and say, whoa, where did this guy go? Why did we miss him? And try and get him back. So the idea would be to identify really young talent and get them from anywhere across the country and across Europe as well.
About more retired players coming in, do you see more players retiring just to take up, to play in these kind of leagues?
Well, it's interesting because all of us from a cricketing background, and we're of the similar generation, so you and I. So we've seen cricket evolve, and like Krish said, I mean, there's so many aspects to the game that's constantly changing, and we all need to embrace it and adapt. And I think the important thing is, if you look at other sports around the world, John with his expertise in football can vouch for that. You know, unless it's a World Cup year, football is all about the franchise and about your club. And cricket, we've been fairly spoiled that for so long, the predominant amount of time that you spend playing cricket has always been for your country, but that's now changing. You know, Faf will talk about being a circuit player. So he gets to play, and I mean, he could have played in another franchise league at the same time, but he's chosen to be in the ETPL because for him, it fits certain parameters that he has as a circuit player. And I think that's something that we haven't seen a great deal in cricket, and you will see more and more, not just from an Indian perspective, but you know, obviously guys who are playing international cricket deciding to call it a day on their international careers to pursue the opportunity in franchise cricket. So it's not just something that could happen in India, and I'm sure there will be opportunities where with the sort of prevalence of these franchise leagues around the world, people will be tempted to retire and carry on their cricket in a franchise environment.
We'll take one final question. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Hello everyone, this is Sudisha from Ref Sports, and I just wanted to ask a question to all of you. What is that one factor that you think will attract the Indian audience in the ETPL? And lastly, what message would you like to give to all the players who are going to participate?
Well, I think firstly, your product has to be good. And I mean, the reason why we've got involved, and as Maduka had said earlier on, I mean, the team that we've put together, we had seen there were 3 teams already that had been announced in January, and we came into the system in February, and we'd seen the sort of team players that they had already pre-signed. And that for us was just indicative of what we're trying to achieve. You have to have if you want to make it something popular, you can't bring in a product that's not going to stand scrutiny. And I think that's the key message for us, is that we want to deliver a good product. So I think from that perspective, we're really excited about what our team can do, the Rotterdam Dockers, and the entire league as a whole.
So when I came on as an investor, one of the things that we look at is how much they got done in such a short period of time, and the quality behind it, and the names behind it. It's not easy to get players like Henrik Klaassen involved, and just the passion that a lot of the folks have. There's definitely star power in the lineup, and I think that's a huge starting point, but also the effort that they're putting into bringing on talent. Also, in Europe, there is a huge Indian community. There's pockets of South Asian communities, and like John said, the timing is perfect, because I've seen in like the US, when the US has leagues, it's sometimes too late for people in the subcontinent to watch it. So this is like perfectly in a place where people in Europe, in London, South Africa, as well as even India are going to be able to watch it. And there's just this premium experience from the way Faf and the team designed the jerseys to just the way that the people that have been involved. There's good thinking heads, good cricketing heads that are running this, and people that are former players, former coaches. So I think that's just a great sign that these people know what they're doing. And that was one of the reasons why I got involved as an investor.
And just really important, I know we're talking AI, that really was Faf designing the gear. So he's been really invested in this team from the outset, in everything, in every aspect of it.
Last but not the least, just want to, my selfish reason for being here as well is I believe India is a one sport country, and cricket is at the epitome of everything. I have developed a sports vertical within my system where we support, we promote motor racing, we promote football, etc., and I believe in cross-pollination. So definitely, and I can say this with a lot of confidence, Jonty is going to be a part of Northeast United FC, which is our football team. I would love for Krish and everybody here to be involved in our different sporting disciplines, because it's so important to promote other sport as well. And one of the reasons why I am here is because cricket is from 1 to 1,000, and it's important. And I think the Indian consumer today is also confused of what second sport to follow. And that's the reason why I've created my own sport vertical, where we have motorsport. We own a team in motorcycle racing in the Isle of Man TT. I'm associated with the MotoGP. I'm also associated with Formula 4 racing in India, with football, etc. And we're going to be supporting boxing, weightlifting, judo across the country, multiple sports disciplines. So that's something I want to do in the Center of Excellence. And And Jonty's played hockey. Jonty's played many other sports. And Krish gets this space and Madhukar gets this space. So when you have like-minded people sitting here, there's an opportunity for everybody to be involved in the sport that they would like to get involved in. And that's the platform that I want to kind of create here.
Well, but of course, the real story begins when Rotterdam Dockers take the field. The inaugural to September 20th across Woerburg in the Netherlands and Dublin in Ireland. And Rotterdam Dockers will have the honor of being part of history, opening their campaign against Amsterdam Flames on August 26th in Woerburg in the opening fixture of the inaugural ETPL season. So the jersey has been unveiled, the team has been assembled, the stage is set. Now we wait for the cricket. Thank you once again to Jonty Rhodes, John Abraham, Madhukar Sri and Krish Ramaneni for being with us, and a very special thank you to our members from the press.